What's up, everybody? Oh, welcome to the live show. We are going to have some fun times tonight. Amazon has so kindly spent $1 million to sponsor this episode. I'm totally joking. I wish Amazon. Look, here's the deal. Because I've seen an uptick of comments saying that I'm a total shill. I would happily invite Amazon to pay me to give reviews. That would be wonderful. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. I want to bring on my very special guest and my very special friend. And when I say special, emphasize special friend. Jess the Amerlin Seat, my buddy from Tarval and After Dark, and just an overall awesome person. What's up, Jess?
I am exceptional.
Quite exceptional and special. Very special in multiple ways. Take that how you will. Now, before we get going here, right? I think it's worth addressing, and I know, like, how do I put this? Jess didn't care, but I do. So I'm going to bring this up. Very early on in this chat, before the chat started, a certain individual, and I don't want to call attention to it, basically said something to the order of taping or gluing Jess's mouth shut. And I'm just going to say this. Jess can swear whenever she wants. And if you ever say something like that again about a guest, Shantane, please banish them to forever or wherever they go, because completely inappropriate. You do not disrespect people in general. Fair
Especially
enough?
not me.
Fair enough. Especially not Jess. She'll kill you. I'm just yelling at you. She might straight up end you. So first of all, thank you, Grumpy Smurf. Wig it is. We are kicking this off early tonight with the wig.
Oh, no.
Anywho,
my wig is attached to my decor. Oh no.
You have? Oh yeah, I forgot. Jess has wigs too. Jess has more wigs than I do.
I have many wigs. Can't figure out how to put this one on.
Here we go.
How do you work?
Well, while you're working your wig, I'll kind of preface, we have a lot to get to today. We're going to break down episode 6 of... Oh, look at that. Wow. See, she's got real wigs. I have my unit here.
It is an absolute unit.
We're going to break down episode 6. I have a lot to talk about with this. You'll obviously be able to hear us talk a little bit more about it on our podcast, because we just got done recording that yesterday. But Jess and I have very differing opinions on this past episode, which should make for some good conversations. Ooh, Jess, getting the love. Woo! Okay.
And $5 is mine, right?
Sure, if you say so.
No, it's fine.
It's Canadian though, so.
Oh well.
Okay. To kind of kick things off here in the discussion, I mean, Jess, let's talk about this. What were your overall thoughts on episode 6? Like, go tell.
There were some. There were things that I really liked about it, and there were things that I liked less. You know, there are obviously things that they couldn't help, like the ending. They probably did the best they could with what they had, because Barney didn't come back from the second COVID thing. So, you know, it was awkward. I was confused by it. So, you know, I didn't love that part. I really liked the cold opening with Baby Swan. I really, really loved the stuff between Maureen and Swan. Like, I am team Swarrain forever. Like, give me that gay shit. Give it to me. I love it. Yeah, overall, I liked the episode. It's definitely not my favorite. It's probably at this point in the bottom 3, I think. But overall, and I mean, listen, I'm easy to entertain and naive. So it's really easy to make me happy with this stuff. So,
well, so from me, I thought this episode was strange to me. I said this in my review. This was a difficult one for me to review because on one hand, I thought it was exceptional for about 3/4 of the episode. Like I really felt like it was building to something that could have been, and I don't want to make the comparisons to Game of Thrones, but there were episodes of Game of Thrones that were like, you ended the episode and you were like, "Oh, damn, that was a really, really good episode of television."
Yeah.
Like I know you never saw the whole series, but like there were a couple that were like that. And I felt like this had the potential to do that, and then it just went. Some of that was not their fault. Some of it were choices they made that I don't think landed maybe in the way that.
That they hoped.
Yeah, again, I'm an armchair quarterback here, but the 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 difficulty I think in this was obviously they were dealing with a lot. They were dealing with Matt, but I think that the other problem, and I'll throw this out there, I think this episode suffered from way too much overhype.
I was just gonna say, I don't know how much of my feelings about it are colored by the fact that I went into it thinking that it was going to be really something,
Yep.
because there were so many people who'd seen it ahead of time who said that it was so good. And so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we're looking at end of episode 4 levels of pants crapping. And see what I did? I didn't swear because I care about you and your money. You know, I was expecting that level of just like jaw dropped on the floor, can't talk kind of stuff. And we didn't get that. It was a great episode, but I don't know like how much that expectation that went unmet is coloring my perception of it.
Yep. Well, and again, it's a strange feeling for me because, like I said, I thought for the first 3/4, I thought it felt very Wheel of Time. I thought the politics were starting to ramp up. I loved seeing that.
I loved that.
The way they're playing Leandrin, and we'll talk more about that a little later, but like that was great. I actually loved the Hall of the Tower scenes. I loved there was so much foreshadowing packed into this episode. Like, by the way, in case you're joining, like this is a full spoilers show. So I will be talking pretty much spoilers for everything. So sorry, but not sorry. Real quick here. Grumpy Smurf says fourth oath. Ways being open with the one power traveling. Well, first of all, I don't think there was any traveling, but we'll come back to that topic. That's one of the things I want to get to. But yeah, the fourth oath and the ways being open with the one power. That's something where, you know, it's interesting because I was talking about this on our podcast. I've been a fan the entire time. Like a lot of people will jump on me for my reviews in the sense that I'm not going through every episode going, "Oh my God, that was different from the books, and that was different from the books, and that was different." Because honestly, I felt like it's felt like Wheel of Time. It's not the plot that makes Wheel of Time. Okay. In fact, I could get into all of the reasons why Eye of the World is a very difficult book to adapt and why they were going to have to change the plot. But that's a whole other episode. If you refuse to do some of those things, that's a whole other topic.
Well, and I mean, let's be really honest. The Eye of the World is kind of a mess of a book. Things start to solidify much better in The Great Hunt. And I am inclined to think that we are probably going to see things adhering to the book much more closely once we start getting to those plot points. So, you know, I'm not surprised that they were kind of all over the place with this. Like,
yeah, I think episode 2 will probably, in my guess, just from stuff that I've kind of heard and piecing together myself, I think season 2 will probably feel a little closer to the books for people that are non-readers, or I'm sorry, for the readers, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably feel a little bit closer because this was the book that was going to be hard. Again, let's think about what Eye of the World is. Eye of the World is a book that is horribly paced, right? Like we've got
like 17 chapters of Matt and Rand traveling to Capeland. Like, God.
Well, it takes forever. And then the end of the book happens like this. Like,
yeah, and it doesn't make any sense.
And it's confusing to people. And it's all told, like literally 90% of the point of views. I think there are like 3 chapters in the book told from a different point of view than Rand, 3 or 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So that does not make for a good story. They were going to have to add character to the other people. They were going to have to add things that were interesting to follow. And so I'm gauging this on, number one, how real the characters feel to me. And then I'm also gauging it on how do non-readers respond. Okay. Because they do need to figure out how to get the non-readers involved. And if they adapted it word for word in the first book, it
Oh,
would
we'd lose
not have.
everybody.
It would not have. Okay, there are
It
a
would
lot
have
of people
lost me, and I'm a fan. Like,
well, there are people that can't make it through the first. I think the first book is one of the harder books for people to make it through as new readers. And I know for readers that love the books, that's a hard thing to hear, but it's true. I've been trying to get people to read these books on this channel for 3 years. Okay, it's a common thing that you hear. I can't make it through the first book, so they had to do something. They did.
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe that or not, that's up to your opinion. But
I
I
mean,
don't think that's debatable. Here's where they lost. Here's where I struggled this episode, though. This is a whole bunch of preface of me going into that to say this. I have been okay with most, and not all, most of the changes per se that they've made. That doesn't mean they made perfect television, but I've been okay with most of the changes. This episode, I questioned some of the choices because, first of all, I don't think there was an apparent reason. Most of the other changes that they've made, I felt like, yep, there was a good reason, and I can see what it is. Or I know it's coming, or whatever it would be. This was the first time that I felt like, why did they do that? Like, I don't think any of them were killer, oh my God, end of the world changes. But nevertheless, they were still leaving me like, what? Why? Why did we do that?
Well, we talked about this yesterday while we were recording Tarvalin After Dark, that, some of these changes leave it open in terms of what kind of impact they're going to have down the line. Like the way the Waygates open, she used the one power to open them. So what does that mean for non-channelers who need to use it? And I was thinking about what you'd said yesterday, because I was fairly adamant that, that they had thought these things through to the end, and you were less sure about that. And, you might be right. It could very well be that they haven't thought it all the way through, but, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed.
Well, I'm hoping so. Like, the oath rod thing to me was odd, only because, without getting into the specifics of it, that usage of the oath rod for that purpose is sort of a taboo thing that's used as a major plot point later in the books. And so by using that now, like, that does take away from something that happens later. Now, they may be choosing not to go that direction. It just seems to me like it's not a choice that they needed to make, because frankly, Swan sends people off for penances all the time, and they don't need to swear a fourth oath in the books. So it's kind of like a, why did we do that? And I get that it was like a sort of marriage ceremony, if you will. And I actually thought it was emotionally powerful. Here's what I'll say. If you were not a book reader at all, I think I would have watched this episode and thought it was pretty good.
Okay? The general consensus that I've seen from not book readers is that they loved this episode. They thought it was fabulous. So,
yep. I just think that it's harder for people who read the books in this specific episode, because it was, like I said, I'm okay with most changes, and they lost me on a few of them on them here. Not lost me, but I'm not on board.
You're skeptical. That's
skeptical
fair.
of the changes. I'll put it that way. The Waygate one, I have a feeling we'll get more of an explanation in the next episode. Like, they really did not talk about Waygates at all.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that will come up. I'm interested to see if they address the fact that, can these things be opened by non-channelers? Because the entire history of Waygates essentially is rewritten if they have to be opened by a channeler. And why does an Ogier need to be there? And
yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that the Ogier, that Loyal has to be there because there's still the signpost that he is the only one who can read them. That's an assumption on my part. I don't know why they would change that. I don't know, especially because, like, the design of the Waygate doesn't kind of lend itself to, maybe you still can do the Avendasaur leaf thing where you move one thing to another thing or something like that. It doesn't look like that. So, I was toying with the idea that, because we talked about how it's confirmed that they combined portal stones and waygates. So, because,
Yeah.
honestly, you don't need two different forms of fast travel, at least not at this point. And so I was sort of entertaining the idea that, maybe it does something different when you use Sidene for it rather than when you use Sidar, but that
Yep.
still doesn't help the people who are
Well,
non-channelers.
and it
So,
means that we've got to have somebody that got the Trollocs to the Two Rivers. It means that
mhm,
Perrin getting back to the Two Rivers if they choose to. I mean, again, it's just there's a lot of changes that now have to happen about the lore
mhm,
that I'm not sure are necessary, because if you've got Loyal there, why not just have it be this, like, you could even keep the same design of the Waygate if that's what they liked, and just
mhm.
have Loyal come over and say you need an Ogier around or something. I would have
Yeah.
been okay with that change, right?
Like, no,
Like
your retina scan or something.
like, yeah, you need to have Ogier blood or something. I don't know, whatever they come up with, that would have been a more in lore change. But the fact
Mhm,
that you need a channeler to do it and that Moraine somehow already knows how to do it,
mhm,
I struggle with that. So I think it's a change that I don't clearly at this point see the reason they made. Okay.
mhm,
And that's, I think, where I'm a little, again, worried is the wrong word because I'm not worried.
mhm,
But I'm not sure that I like the choice. Okay. There are ways around the choice, but I
mhm.
don't understand why they made that choice so that
It
they
does
then
kind of
have to get
feel
around
like,
it.
yeah, I can see what you mean, that it kind of feels like maybe they made more work for themselves down the road by doing it this way.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I'm
Well,
hoping that we're gonna get answers this week because,
yeah.
being in the ways is a perfect opportunity to do the exposition of the lore. I'm
Mhm.
I'm glad that they're setting it up so that Loyal is the one who is explaining it. And so then maybe at that point we'll get the answer that you can open it by channeling or by doing this other thing, but nobody else knows how to do this thing, or you need a special key and nobody knows where one is, or something like that. You know what I mean? So, I'm hoping we get the answers tomorrow just because I'm nosy.
Kansu, thanks for the money, man. Appreciate you. I wonder what complications come from the discrepancy in the oath itself. Excuse me. Swan said to obey the Amerlin. Maureen said she obeys Swan. What if she dies? I, I think that was deliberate.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I think it was a little odd because it sounded a whole lot like everybody could hear Maureen. Like when I first watched it, I was like, what the hell, Maureen? Like you're just giving yourself away here, like professing your undying love to Swan in front of the hall of the tower in that big echoey room. Uh, but I think it was implied she was whispering because then she
Yes.
raises her voice, right?
Yes.
So like uh, that did feel like a Chekhov's gun, of course, like of sorts, I should say, like that they placed and she did the oath that way.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if they'll think Moraine's a dark friend because she lies, because she doesn't obey the new Amerlin, quote unquote. I don't know.
It
Um,
could be. I mean, I feel like she gave herself a really, while doing something extremely romantic, also gave herself a loophole because, they were doing this whole farce because, they have to because of
mhm.
their mission and all of this. So, Moraine has given herself a very neat and tidy loophole so that, when Swan is deposed, she is not bound to obey whoever is in the seat. She's working with Swan and Swan only. So, that
Ironically,
was smart to me.
Swan could boss her around even if she wasn't the Amerlin anymore.
I
Which
mean,
I'm sure
honestly,
Moraine
like,
would be all about.
yeah,
Get
I
on
feel
your
like Swan is,
knees.
you know what? I was going to say that Swan is the top, but I don't think so. Now
Beth,
that I'm thinking about it.
thank you, Beth. Beth is awesome, by the way. We love Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Um, do you think that they are going to combine Waygates with Portal Stones? They did. So
Mhm.
that's, I believe, confirmed. In fact, Jess is actually a prophet. I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw this out there because I don't know if anybody will remember this. Back on our show when they first announced the picture of the Waygate, and we were all like, "What the hell is that? Is that a Waygate?" Jess suggested maybe they'll be combining the two, and Jess was right. So Jess knows it all.
This girl right here, I know things.
She knows
I don't
things.
drink anymore, so I just know things.
I'm gonna play a couple clips. I want to start with I want to move away from talking about changes I don't like because yeah, those things exist, but it's not worth spending the whole episode talking about them. I want to talk about a couple things that I think are cool that I think will be fun to talk about. let's talk about Swan and Moraine's little pictures and what the hell happened. So I'm going to play a clip, okay? After we answer this comment here. Hopefully that's Jail, if I'm saying it right. Jail.
Jail.
I wonder if the Waygate next to Tarvala needs a channeler, but the other Waygates not so for Waygates in different locations. That'll be interesting to see. Because
maybe every Waygate is different.
And I'm hoping it is. Or something, because again, they need to do something to explain that. So let me play this clip real quick, and we will come back and talk about it. So here we go.
Up you get, Swan.
Are the fish stirring, Papa?
Aye. Kissing the surface.
Jumping for their breakfast?
Best we catch him then.
Before some other bastard does.
Come on.
What were you thinking? I'm on a knife's edge here, and that display you forced me to put on has made everything we're trying to do much harder. Don't smile. Skin me and some if you don't take idiotic risks.
Am I forgiven, Mother?
I hate it when you call me that. So much for the Amelin seat, remaining neutral without favourites.
So, okay. The reason I put those two clips together, I don't know if people caught this, because I think everybody thinks what happened, at least a lot of the people I've seen talking about this, think that they traveled to Tyr. They did not.
That's what I think.
They did not.
That is the world. You know that for sure?
I think there are some pretty obvious clues that that's what that is. So we'll talk about those.
Okay.
First of all, there is a blue filter over the scene. I don't know if anybody caught that. When they're in the little hut in Tyr, which, by the way, is an exact replica of the one that she was in with her father that burnt down. There's also a blue there's a blue filter over top of the scene where it's a little blue. They usually do things like that when they want to show dream sequence. So they could have gone to Tyr in the World of Dreams. I'd be shocked if that was actually in Tyr. Now, I want to show one other thing here real quick before we talk about this. Here is their ter'angreal side by side. I've seen a lot of people saying they're exact replicas, and they are not. This is Moraine's on the left. And then you've got, this is the one in Swan's room on the right, which is like a shot of the rivers near Tyr.
Mm-hmm.
So they're different.
I wonder if the one in Moraine's room is Kyrian.
I'm wondering the same thing. So any case, there was just over the whole scene, there was a blue thing. It would make more sense within the context if that was the World of Dreams, because it also seems like they're trying to set Swan up to be a dreamer. Because they were it wasn't odd that she was having dreams.
Well, here's my rebuttal to that.
Mm-hmm.
She is having dreams where someone that she thinks is the Dark One is appearing in that dream.
Right.
Rand, Matt, and Perrin all have the same type of dream.
Yep.
They're not dreamers. Because here's the thing, I don't think that Swan is a dreamer, and I don't think that the person that she sees in her dream is the Dark One. I think who she's seeing is a Shamael, aka Baal Zaman.
100% agree with that.
So yep. I don't think that they're setting up Swan to be a dreamer, and I don't think that I think My pet theory is that they're not in Tel'aran'rhiod. I think that they actually did travel to Tyr. They go to Tyr because it's Swan's home and she doesn't get to go back there ever. And they want to be someplace far away from the tower. And a fishing shack in Tyr, one probably looks very much like another. That's what I think.
Well, I'll add one more thing to the World of Dreams thing. I agree with you that that's a Shamael messing with her dreams, totally. Where I believe that it makes her a dreamer, though, is they don't react to the fact that that's happening. Like they look at that almost as a premonition of sorts. They don't react like she's being haunted in her dreams by a Shamael. They act like, oh yeah, you're dreaming. That means something. Like Moiraine reacts like, oh, then we have to do something about it if you're dreaming it. Like that's what I'm talking about. It was implied. Threw a poll up in the chat. If it works, it's my first ever poll. We'll see what people
I'm proud
think.
of you.
We'll see what people think. I did have a comment that we almost passed up, so I want to make sure I find it. Terry Sadai, with the Waygate, I feel like maybe this one is close to Tar Valon has been closed with the power. Foreshadows Rand seeing the need to guard them later. Possibly. I mean, those are interesting thoughts on that. I think if they made the change, they're going to make the change, is my opinion. Like, I think it'll work with channeling. Max Event, no more Moiraine or Tom or Swan or... Okay, I don't understand.
Bisexuality and pansexuality exist. Because because she's with a woman doesn't automatically mean she's a lesbian.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're talking to two bisexual hosts right here. So right off the bat, we can both explain to you what it means is that you like both sexes. So you could equally fall in love either way. So let me see how my poll is doing. I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh God, that was a terrible poll. I just did what I make fun of Matt Hatch for doing every single time.
Did you do a bad poll?
Yes. Here we go. Did Swan and Moiraine travel to Tyr, or was it the World of Dreams? Yes or no? All right, we're ending.
I'm totally ratting on you. I'm telling Matt.
We're ending that garbage poll. Nobody tell Matt. Okay, did they go to the World of Dreams? Let's try that again. That was all Matt Hatch's fault. So, okay.
He's with us in spirit always.
Yes. Okay. I can't believe I did that. Okay. But yeah, I think either way, I'm not really a fan of either. This wasn't a huge deal to me, but I'm like, why did we have to do that? Because either of those things feel problematic. Like a traveling ter'angreal is a little weird to me. Because that doesn't exist in the books, and it's pretty damn powerful if that is the case. Like,
I mean, it is really super powerful. I mean, the only thing I can think, the only way that you could make it like sort of neuter it is if it didn't have like a partner nearby or something like that. But like, it's not like it was a doorway into like the other person's room or something. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing to have. How did they find it? How did they figure out how it worked? How did they like gank them so that nobody knew that they stole them? Because like, I know that the Aes Sedai don't pay like super great attention to their room full of ter'angreal, but you'd think that people would notice that they both had like identical ter'angreals hanging up in their rooms.
One might think like, oh, those look a lot. So I'm seeing Wheel of Time, who, by the way, you should check out, makes great rap-based videos that are hilarious. It's literally on the Amazon Explore page that it's a traveling ter'angreal to a single location. We have somebody else saying that, so I haven't seen that yet. Okay, so it's to a hut in the Fingers of the Dragon, which that's pretty damn powerful as a ter'angreal.
Well, I mean,
anywho,
ter'angreals are such a fucking crapshoot, though, aren't they?
But however, this is a great point. I can't think of a better use for traveling than a booty call. I mean,
you
look,
are not wrong.
Rand makes a good use of that as well. Rand and Avienda. Avienda travels into the snow so she can have a sex igloo with Rand. So
Yeah, well, I guess in fairness, she didn't travel with the express purpose of doing the sex igloo.
well, she
But-
ran away because she was gonna have, you know,
They were gonna have a sex
they were gonna make
without
babies.
the igloo. Oh, that whole thing is
Anywho.
such a fucking mess. But I hope we get the
Anywho.
sex igloo just because it's iconic. Not necessarily in a good way, but it's iconic.
Okay, so let's do another. I want to play another clip. Let's talk specifically before I play this clip, though. Let's talk about. Actually, hold on. I had one more thought I wanted to show you. This is also cool. That's the Stone of Tyr.
It's awesome. It's nothing like what I imagined. I imagined it for whatever reason. I imagined the Stone of Tyr actually looked like a literal rock with like windows
Yeah.
in it. I don't know why I thought that, but yeah,
Well,
that's
it's interesting
badass.
because there are almost no assets that show like a artist conception of the Stone of Tyr.
That's true. I
There's
don't know
almost
if I've
nothing.
ever seen one.
So like it's interesting because this was like this is one of the things I was really hoping to see because we don't really have a good idea of what it looks like and it's never explicitly described. Like you really can't make out what it looks like. Like it's a fortress, but it's also sort of a rock and it's gigantic. Like I don't know,
Mhm.
right? So I think it's really cool. I can't wait to see some closer up shots of it, but
I can't wait for Matt to blow it up.
Right.
Super stoked.
Okay. So, but let's talk about Matt because that's actually a bunch of things to talk about Matt on this. Before we do that, here we go. Question, Jay Diggity, thank you. Can channelers recognize the ter'angreal? Alana was in Maureen's room. I don't think they always can they?
Is it recognized? Isn't that a talent?
I think it's a talent, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, Matt. We're going to shift the subject to Matt here real quick. Obviously, that ending was like, for those that don't know that are watching, okay, the Barney Harris has been recast for season 2. We knew that coming into this season. The rationale or the reasons for that recasting are not known. It's obviously not because of his performance per se. He's been very, very good. Stinky Chicken, thank you. Jess, your swearing makes you an honorary Australian. We love you. Girl.
Thank you, Stinky Chicken. I appreciate that.
Yes, you're awesome, Stinky Chicken. That's also a great name.
It is a great name.
So Matt has been recast. Donal Finn, he's an actor. He's I want to say Irish. Will be playing him. He's great. He's actually going to look. I think he'll do really well.
Well, and he looks enough like Barney that I think that it's not going to be like super jarring to have the change either, which
Right.
Obviously it's not like a requirement, but I think it's helpful.
Oh, absolutely. I think he'll be great. I'm not really worried about that at all, even though I will miss Barney. He's done such a great job.
He's been fantastic.
What we didn't know is if Barney finished the season, because what most people don't know, Wheel of Time actually, the show just came out a year after it was supposed to. They had 2 major shutdowns because of COVID. So the first shutdown was right in the middle of the pandemic. They were able to come back to filming, but then there was a massive outbreak in the Czech Republic where they were filming. So they had to shut down again. At some point, Barney did not return. So there were a couple scenes, and potentially what it looks like now is episodes 7 and 8 that Barney did not come back for. So that put them in a predicament. They could have either, number one, and Adam Wartshead, who's a writer for Dragonmount, you should go check that out. Shantane, if you could find that article and link it, that would be awesome. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, was talking about this, but they had a couple options. They could, number one, replace him mid-season and recast for the last 2 episodes. I think that would have been pretty jarring. I don't think anybody would have been excited about that. The other thing they could have done was write him out, which is it looks like what they did. Chansonnet, it's an article on Dragonmount by Adam Wartshead about Matt's recasting. But if you can find it, no worries if you can't. But anyways, so they had really no good choices here. No good choices in my opinion.
Yeah.
So they chose to try to write him out in some way, shape, or form, is what it looks like. We don't know that for sure yet, but I think that's what explains that awkward ending. Now, I don't blame them so much for that because it is what it is. That being said, I do think there might have been a couple things they could have done a little differently. Like I think they had the perfect opportunity with the dagger to maybe not have Rand or not have him get healed, right? Or have something happen that I don't know that caused that. Anyways, what are your thoughts on that? I'm rambling at this point, but
no, that's okay. I think that there are definitely probably other directions that they could have gone with it. I have to assume that they were limited in what footage they had that they could use for that kind of sort of alternate ending.
yeah.
Because obviously, they didn't anticipate it, clearly. Which means that they didn't have any footage like on standby for a just in case. So what they had then was anything that they had already filmed that they were not going to use for whatever reason.
Right.
And so my assumption is the stuff that they had left over was not something that they could adapt to work in any other way. It would have been nice if they had. I do like the premise that Matt got left behind in Tar Valon because he was still like connected to the dagger in some way and they needed somebody to watch him or something like that. Like I feel like that would have been a better way to take it. So I have to assume that they just like that's what they had to work with. So
well, to the other thing that we'll talk about here is I don't think it's the end. Like I did feel like Moraine healing Matt, although it was cool to see, was a little underwhelming, and I'm hoping that that is not the end of Dagger Matt because if so, that felt like a pointless plot line. Now, I would also argue that Dagger Matt goes on way too long in the books. So it's like, how do we find that happy medium? I want to play this clip now, and then we'll talk about this. This is Moraine and Rand talking after Matt has been healed. So play this clip, and then I'll give you my theory.
So if Matt can't channel, then he's not there. It's just the darkness from the Shadow City all along.
I don't know. He's stronger than he has any right to be. If he weren't, that dagger would have consumed him weeks ago. You have to be careful. You have to watch him. I've healed him of his connection to the dagger, but it was feeding off the darkness in him as much as he was of it. If he touches it again, he may be lost forever.
Okay. That line right there is them totally said. I don't think we're done with Dagger Matt.
that is a Chekhov's gun, my friends.
Yes. She's basically saying, you give him the dagger back, and I don't know if he can be healed. Which is exactly the setup we need for a Sangreal and 13 Aes Sedai trying to rip the, save his life.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I feel like they had already set that up. I'm guessing they had already set that up before Barney left. And now it's just a matter of when he gets his paws back on it. And, it's going to be like he's staying in Tar Valon. I'm guessing, I think the part where she mentioned that it was feeding off the darkness in him as much as vice versa is important. I'm guessing that he is, in much the same way that he did in the books, he's going to be kind of sort of obsessed with it. And he's going to figure out a way to get it. I would not be surprised if Liandrin assists him in that because she's Liandrin.
Thank you for that awesome segue. Here's my rewrite ending to this episode. Here's my theory. You know how I said earlier I felt like the episode was building to something that never quite happened? like the Game of Thrones would do this thing where they would do these political things that would go back and forth. Moraine shuts down Leandrin, and you're like, cool. Here's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Leandrin put the dagger back in Matt's room somehow. I wanted her to cause it. And that's why he disappears. Or has the dagger again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted to see. And I think that would have been a oh shit ending. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially for non-readers.
Well, and you want to know, it's entirely possible that that's exactly what was supposed to happen, but they couldn't make it work after he left. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Because that would have been an amazing ending.
Mm-hmm. That I think would have been cool, and that would have been a way to pull that off. Now, again, they may have had a different direction they're going with the dagger, and they didn't want to rewrite the whole thing. I get that we don't know the complications with the series, but the flip side of that is this. In the world of business, in the world of movies, in the world of TV shows, the excuses, while they may make sense, they're still excuses. And at the end of the day, like, I want people to love the series, and that stuff hurts, regardless of whether it's their fault or not. And so, like, I'm hoping that didn't come across as a what moment. Now, that being said, if they pull this off correctly, it may not be as obvious to non-readers. So I'm hoping they can kind of pull this back together. Now, Beth, you brought up another really interesting point. Right after they walk out of the Hall of the Tower, basically, I think it's Maxim just hands her a pear.
He does this just fucking smooth ass fruit handoff. It's so good.
And she's just she's not even eating it. She's just like holding it here. Who does that with a pear?
They smell good.
Do they?
Yeah. Pears are tasty and they smell nice. Oh, okay. Listen, here's the thing about Alana. I'm getting the strong impression that Alana savors her food. So I am not at all surprised that she's just sitting there smelling her delicious pear and waiting for the moment when she can like bite into it, because right now is probably not the right moment. You know what I mean? Like, girl loves her snacks and I'm here for it.
I stand corrected. That was a fig, not a pear.
Oh, was it a fig?
Either way, she's just holding a fig. So, okay, real quick, pause. Let's do some shameless promotion from two things. First of all, I forgot to do this early. Jess, who the hell are you?
Hi, I'm Jess. Amerlin Seat on the Amerlin Study, which is my YouTube channel. I do reaction videos to the show, and I'll probably some other stuff. I don't know what yet. And I also host a podcast with Nae'Blis and recasting called Tarvalin After Dark, where I swear a lot. So you can suck on that. And we do like funny sketches and commercials and all kinds of neat stuff like that. And you should listen to it and you should watch my channel.
Yep, absolutely. Check out our channel. It's there on the screen. The other thing that we are going to do, because this is always shameless plug time and you guys always tend to enjoy this, I am going to debut the commercial on our podcast for tomorrow's commercial. Do you guys want an old one or do you want the new commercial? You have to let me know. So do we want the old commercial or do we want a new one? Oh, and we're going to actually play two because I want to tell you the magic, the power that Tarvalin After Dark has. We're going to show you all something. So let me go ahead and play in a shameless promotion. I will play tomorrow's commercial. Here we go.
Does your Trollicord get antsy when they're hungry? Do they stand around their cookpot checking their watches and murdering each other? Introducing the Magic Bullet Trollic Edition. This juicer is specially designed to juice human remains, so your shadow spawn can feed right after killing. No more waiting around a cookpot with Trollic saying things like "Grod," "Arg," and then tearing off each other's heads. With the Magic Bullet Trollic Edition, you can feed your Trollics in seconds. You can even choose between human pulp or no human pulp, depending on your Trollicord's preferences. The Magic Bullet Trollic Edition, because your Trollics deserve better.
Would you have your human with pulp or without pulp, Jess?
Well, I mean, probably with pulp. I like my orange juice with pulp, and that's basically the same thing, right?
What would the pulp be for humans? Anyway, all right, we'll change the subject. Now I have
It's
to
about to
play.
get
I
real
am going to
graphic.
play another commercial here, real quick, because last week this was the commercial, and then we'll talk about what happened afterwards. This was last week's commercial.
Do you want official Wheel of Time backstory? Are you desperate for lore that expands this world? Are you searching for internet stuff that informs you, but also aligns with the show? Introducing What Origins from Amazon Prime. These animated clips have been available for a while, but no one knows how to find them. As a What Origins viewer, you'll receive inside info about the Ajas, details on Manetherin's fall, and descriptions of how the One Power works. All you have to do is find the What Origins animated shorts, which exist somewhere. What Origins? It's free to watch, if you can find it, which you can't.
That is.
I want that to be true.
That is the power of Tarval and After Dark, the podcast.
It's true.
We make a commercial poking fun at it, and boom, change.
We're change makers. We have the ear. We're chills. We're Amazon chills, so we have the ear of the power of the
absolutely. I told them I wouldn't accept another yacht until they made the change. So. Okay, so guys, all joking aside, we have a podcast. It comes out every Tuesday morning.
TVAD Tuesday, baby.
Download the podcast. It's fun. We talk a lot about, like, we disagree a lot. If you want to see Jess and I scream and swear at each other, it's good there.
And Brian is just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right, pretty much.
What are you people doing?
And then we do funny stuff like that. My favorite thing that we do right now, we do Belladonna the Busty Bard, which is funny, and that's Jess. And then we have Marge, the Shadows therapist, which is
therapist. Oh God, that is so good. So good. Oh my God.
So you should check it out.
Okay.
And maybe if you guys are good, I'll play one more commercial before we leave. So yes, awesome. Okay, back to Wheel of Time discussion, episode 6. So
yes,
what was your score out of 10, Jess? Like, if you were giving this a score out of 10, what would it be?
I mean, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. I can hear myself echoing.
Not me.
Hmm?
Can you still hear yourself echoing? I can't hear you.
Well, and then let's see. Yeah, I can. That's weird.
I don't hear you echoing.
I can hear it. Can anybody else hear me echoing?
I don't know. Hello. Hello.
Well,
while
maybe I
you're
just have my earbuds turned up way too high. Anyway,
okay.
I'll probably give it an 8 out of 10.
8?
8, yeah. I think I give it 8 out of 10.
I said 8 or 7.5 to 8 in my video, and I think I'm going to settle on 7.5 because I don't quite think I think it could have been better. Like I said, I really felt like it was building to something that just didn't happen. And then I didn't agree with some of the choices. That being said, here's what I loved. And we talked about this a little earlier. I really liked the politics entering. I thought that would pull in good. I thought it would pull in new viewers, and it has. So I got a couple comments. One of my best friends said, I don't hear an echo. Okay. One of my best friends said to me that his dad asked him, like, literally his dad messaged him and was like, "Hey, have you heard of this show, The Wheel of Time? You should watch it. Your mom and I love it." And then he was like, "Well, hey, do you remember me? I used to be this guy's basketball coach." So we'll put it that way. And I knew his dad. And was like, "Wait, he does it?" And then showed him my channel. And it was kind of funny because he was like, "I had no idea." But apparently at this guy's job and things, like people are talking about the show and they love it. They're
That's
not
awesome.
readers. That's a positive to me. And because they needed people that are not book readers to like the show. And if it is pulling people in, yeah, it's harder. I think it's actually harder for us book readers to enjoy it, to be frank. I do think it's harder for us just because we have a pre-existing, right? Like we know what's coming. Are you there, Jess?
I'm here.
Oh, you looked like you were like dead frozen there for a second.
I was looking at my settings because I can hear myself echoing, and I don't know why. And
I don't know
like,
either.
and it's weird.
Hold on. Normally this isn't an issue, but
It's gonna
any better now?
it's gonna impact your ability to oh yeah, it's gone.
Nope.
It's gonna
Okay.
impact your
Well,
ability to
there we
wear
go.
wigs, but
Hey, we'll live with it. So, anyways,
I want to wear another wig. Somebody give us money.
we're gonna be done here soon. Okay.
Hurry up.
Well, anyways, okay, I agree with that. So, what do you think is going to happen in the next episode? Let's talk a little bit about episode 7. And I will say this, not to get on the hype train again. Episode 7 was Rosamund Pike's favorite episode. She said it was the best one of the series.
Nice.
Most of the reviewers, by the way, have not seen episode 7 or 8.
Okay.
Amazon screeners were only for episodes 1 through 6. So, interesting. Rosamund Pike said that this is her favorite. Oh boy, here we go. Look what you did. Look what you did.
Yay.
I'm gonna have to figure out. Thank you both, Chili Odell and Sherry Ford. You guys are the bestest. I'm gonna need to figure out how to do this with like the headphones. There we go. Oh my goodness, Lodge Keep. You're the best. The bestest.
I think for that we need to stay on longer and just wear wigs longer.
Hold on, I might need to take the headphones off. Here we go.
This wig is really, really heavy, and it's not behaving itself without like a wig grip.
Now I really do look like Boris Johnson with headphones on.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you, Village Mattress, also for the monies. You all are the best. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to wear the wig for the rest of the episode, even though it's really hot. The wigs are hot. Like me.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what do you think happens in the next episode, though?
All right. Well, we're definitely going to get the Ways, I think. I'm wondering when we're going to meet Min, because she's in this season. So when the hell are we going to see her?
Faldara.
You think? I guess that makes sense. I thought we'd get her in
Beth. You're the bestest,
Thanks,
too.
Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
I thought we were going to get her in Tarvalon, or Tarvalon, or whatever the fuck.
Light Halcron, I think it gets an 8 because that scene with Swan's dad saying goodbye to me got it right in the feels. I tear up thinking about it. Okay. And I love that for you. Here's my problem. Sorry, I'm going to like rip into your favorite moment. That is the worst dad in the history of dads. Okay. First of all, the river's going the wrong way. So there's that.
I noticed that too.
Second of all, why are we sending our 10-year-old daughter 2,500 miles upstream in a canoe? Just go with her. You don't have a house anymore.
Well, and we talked about this yesterday, and I also wondered about that, and I am hoping that we'll get some like explanation of that as we go, but I'm wondering if it was a situation where like it was going to be a witch hunt kind of thing, and so he basically stayed behind as a sacrifice while he sent her away because like he knew that if they both went, they would like chase him down or something like that.
Well,
they would never make it to Tarvalon.
They got no money. They're poor. But like, you think the mobs are going to chase people all the way to Tarvalon on a boat? Come on.
Well, they might. People are nuts, man. People are fucking crazy. People are crazy.
You glue your mouth shut. You got to listen to whatever that dude's name was and just glue your mouth shut, Jess. Just glue it shut. Here we go. Saying goodbye to my own little pufferfish. And that would be sad. I just think that you would go with them. Jess, you can unglue your mouth now.
Thank you.
Grumpy Min will take Ingtar's role of leading the group to the Blight.
Sexy Scout instead of Lamp.
Would give her something to do. Although I have my ideas of what should happen to Min. So
yeah, you're a sick man.
Hey, she wouldn't be fridged because it's going to be like 10 books from now. It's not fridging.
Okay.
Women are allowed to die.
Yeah, women. I'm not going to get into it.
Fridging is literally just creating a character to kill them. That's what fridging
Well, it isn't necessarily creating a character to kill them. It's actually the brutalization of any female character for the express purpose of furthering the character development or storyline of a male character.
Men can be fridged as well. The term fridging actually comes from Green Lantern. And it is literally the idea of we created a character to kill them. That's what it is. And it just happens to be a trope used on women. That being said, men can be fridged. But it's mostly a women thing. But the point is that she isn't created for that. I'd love getting Jess so mad. She's going to kill me. Jess, how mad are you? Yes, that's where the term fridging comes from, guys. It's a trope. It's just may have a problem because it's typically done to women, and I think that's the tropey thing about it. But anyways, let's change the subject so Jess doesn't murder me. She is about to pull her braid. She's a little naive right now on me.
I'm feeling very pufferfish right now.
But what else happens in episode 7? Do you think, how long do you think we spend in the ways?
I mean, it's difficult to say. I know based on an article that I read, I think it was Decider.com did an interview with Daniel Henney, and he said that they filmed in the ways for 8 days, which I feel like means that there's a lot of footage. So I'm wondering, are we going to spend part of episode 8 in there as well? I don't know. Are we going to spend the whole of episode 7 in the ways? Are we not going to cut away to any other storylines? Because we can't cut away to Matt because he's gone.
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm at a bit of a loss in terms of what is going to happen.
Sure. I don't think we'll spend that long there. I think it'll be fairly quick that we get out. They've kept that pacing pretty quick in that regard. Mm-hmm. And I think if Min is introduced in this episode, which I think she will be, that means we need to get to Faldara.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, we're going to need to get to Faldara. We're going to need to get there pretty quick because ostensibly then in episode 8, we're going to get to the Eye of the World.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And whatever happens
we're going to have to travel there and all that shit. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, and I won't talk about them here, and I actually haven't seen them, but supposedly there's a whole bunch of leaked crap from the last episode, which seems pretty epic. And
yeah, I heard about that too, and I'm avoiding it like the plague because I don't want to know.
Same, and I don't want to report on it either. But supposedly from people that have seen that stuff, they're saying that they probably used a lot of the CGI budget on the last episode because it may be pretty epic. So that could be cool. So
I'm fucking stoked.
I am kind of cool. What did you think of the lightning in the ways?
I thought that was really, really interesting. I feel like when you're able to describe something on the page, it's really easy to describe it as scary because you can describe the feeling of it and the oppressive darkness. But I feel like that's something that's a lot harder to show. So I kind of like that they've brought other kind of elements into it to sort of amp up this idea that it's this extremely scary, weird place because you're basically walking into a metaphysical cave and it's thundering and lightning inside that cave. What the hell is going on? So yeah, I'm interested in that and how that's gonna amp up kind of the spooky factor.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the lightning. I know, obviously, for those that don't know, the ways are described as just totally pitch black with nothing in them.
And not just pitch black, but like a darkness that is so just
Yeah.
complete and intense that your lantern doesn't penetrate it. Like you have like this little kind of muddy pool of light around you that goes out like maybe a couple feet, and that's it. It's pitch black the rest of like it's very oppressive kind of darkness, impenetrable, you know.
I like this thought. Village Mattress, Nae'Blis, so is Mashin Shin a storm? I think that'd be kind of
that's
cool.
interesting.
I think that's a cool because if it's pitch black, you can't see it, right? So I'm not sure how they would show it.
Right. That's like a darkness that's darker than the darkness. Like, how are you going to show that on screen? I like that. That's an interesting.
Now, I hope they still keep the voices like so sweet,
Yes.
so, you know, that kind of thing. By the way, do you think we'll hear whistling in the ways?
I hope we hear whistling in the ways because that would be fantastic.
Now that brings up the question is, how would a certain individual get into the ways if it requires channeling?
Well, and I mean, that brings us back to the idea that there's got to be like an alternate method that doesn't, right? Because I mean, we know that he doesn't sneak in behind them.
And
so...
who is Leandrin's man?
See, my initial like knee-jerk thought on that was that Leandrin has a loved one that she's keeping in the city because where best to hide something than in plain sight. Right. She has a male loved one in the city who can channel and she's protecting him. And that's why Moiraine said, we both know what your Red Sisters will do to him if they find him. And like, that's like huge, that's huge stakes for her. Right. But there are other people who are suggesting that maybe it's a Shamael, which also is huge stakes for her. But, you know, with Moiraine not knowing who it actually is, it could be Fane, like Darouche said. Yeah, I don't know.
It will be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope this is not true.
Yeah, Fane has got his whole other thing going on. He doesn't need to be Forsaken. Like, I hope they don't do that.
Yeah, I really hope that is not true.
I mean, if they do, I'm not going to be super mad about it, really. Like, I'm not, like, I guess I don't care that much. But Fane is so interesting on his own. Like, I don't think they need to do that.
Jess, what's something that would make you super mad?
I try not to feel my feelings because it stresses me out. Lots of things make me very mad. I don't want to talk about it.
Let me give you a scenario. If Egwene and Nynaeve died to make Rand angry enough to want to go to the Eye of the World, would that make you happy?
It would not make me happy, no.
I'm such a troll. I'm sorry.
It would make me idle. I think you know that.
I do. I staged that scenario to piss you off. Okay. Okay. So I want to kind of end things here real quick because we are out of time. Just tell everybody where again they can find you.
You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/The Amerlins Study. Or just search Amerlin Study. That works too. You can also find me wherever fine podcasts are distributed. Tar Valon After Dark with my good great friend Nae'Blis and our other good great friend Recapacet.
Oh, and I forgot to talk about this. So with Tar Valon After Dark, okay, we have a very cool announcement. What are you all doing for New Year's Eve? I know what we're doing.
New Year's Eve. I really wanted to sing that.
We are going to host a New Year's Eve party, and we are going to raise money for the Trevor Project. We will have more details coming out about this, but 8 o'clock on New Year's Eve for the 4 or 5 hours.
We're going to play games. We're going to have guests. There will be shenanigans. I'm going to wear sequins. It's going to be tight.
So if you want to join us for New Year's Eve, join us. We'll be live on YouTube. We'll be doing all kinds of fun things in the Thirsty Tinker. And we'll be giving away some prizes, playing some games, and trying to raise as much money as we possibly can for the Trevor Project. So,
gayest live stream ever. Woo!
Yep. On the gayest podcast ever. So
on the gayest podcast ever. Yes.
Fair enough. So I wanted to say that. So that'll be New Year's Eve for mark your calendars, December 31st.
Do
Aren't
it,
you?
Doug.
Do it.
Do it.
Also, as we end here, we will be in, or at least I will be in Discord. I can't speak for Jess. After this, we always hop in Discord and have some fun voice chats after this. If you would like to join, even if it's your first time, do so. Just click the link in the description of the video. It basically downloads Discord for you. It's a great way to stay in touch. It's like the new message boards. Get in and talk. Tell everybody your opinion and let's have fun. Just be respectful.
Or I'll kill you.
Yes. Don't tell Jess to glue her mouth shut.
I can
Honestly,
tell you glue shut, bud.
who makes that comment online and is like, "Yep, that's a totally appropriate thing to say."
Yep, that's the hill I'm going to die on. I'm going to tell a woman to shut her mouth.
Yep.
Awesome.
In a chat before I've even anyway, don't even get me going. Don't even get me
You just
going.
told the wrong woman to shut up. It's not going to happen.
Anywho, guys, thanks for joining. We will be in Discord after this, or at least I will. And
I will. I'll be there.
Bye.
Goodbye forever.
Wow.